obviously the geopolitical escalation that happened is something that's embedded in the region, but to be very fair, the last probably 3-4 days have been quite daunting. It is no news that obviously oil has a great impact. I mean, it's a big impact on oil, negative impact. But I think the problem, the ramifications are far more reaching than the region. As you saw, I mean, I think no one wants an escalation from a pure economic standpoint. No one wants high oil prices, neither China nor the United States, obviously by the President Trump himself. So we believe that the ramifications are going to be felt in the region, but should be actually felt globally, and they are felt globally. If you look at the market for the last 3 days, it actually did tank for 2-3 days, for first day for 3%, by 3%, but then eventually stabilized. So it seems that the market doesn't believe there will be an all-out war, call it that way.
Walk me through what's been happening with the Aramco stock in particular, because we've seen it off its December 16th highs significantly. What happens next?
Well, let's take a step back. So Aramco just listed at about $1.7 to $1.8 trillion. And it did stabilize, and it did reach the 2 trillion it ticked to 2 trillions within the first 2 days. It did limit up in Saudi, which is a 10% mark up. It did them, and then it retracted. Obviously, there's a big correlation now between Aramco and oil. You would have expected with oil now today reaching 70, 71 to see Aramco skyrocketing. But I think here's the geopolitical overhang is big on Aramco. People still have it fresh in their memory that the strike, the Iranian drones or Yemeni drones that came and struck Aramco is not the best hedge for oil, is not the best actually correlation with oil today, so you probably want to play oil, but Aramco could be more exposed to the geopolitical risks as a result of disruptions resulting from a potential war or strike. Now, from a price perspective, the stock has been hovering between 34 and 35 for the past 6-7 trading session, which translates to a bit more than $1.9 trillion, which still a stock that's yielding about a 4% dividend yield, and that's why people played it.
Would you say Donald Trump's good for business?
It is well, let's define business first, because in this part of the world, the rhetoric of geopolitical escalation has not been good. Oil prices have skyrocketed. This is not something the president himself wanted to have, and we've seen it. Himself asking the Saudi, "We don't want a high oil," but in the same time, you're steering something, and it's gonna translate into higher oil prices. Is it good for the region? Obviously, absolutely not. It's not good for the world either. So,
walk me through what you see happening here on the ground in Lebanon, for example, because we saw yesterday the Iranians coming out and basically touting the possibility of as many as 13 different retaliatory scenarios. We've seen at least 2 of those playing out in the last few hours this morning in terms of those strikes in Iraq. One of the things that's been a real red flag for many people in this region is the potential for this to escalate here in Lebanon via Hezbollah.
Not that Lebanon needs more than that. We are in the middle of a big social unrest and a big economic collapse, I would say. I dare call it collapse. I think the recent Hezbollah declaration that happened by their secretary, Hassan Nasrallah, have actually been quite clear that they will not use Lebanon as a platform for retaliation against neighbors. To put it this way, it is a good news for the first time for Lebanon. We need to shield ourselves from these type of events, and I think this is a positive thing. Will we see implication in Lebanon? We think that there's no military base, and they limited the scope of the retaliation to military bases across the region. There's no American military base in Lebanon.
Hey everybody, it's Hadley Gamble from our new CNBC Middle East Bureau in Abu Dhabi. Thanks for stopping by. Now, to watch more, you can try one of the videos that just popped up on your screen. And don't forget to subscribe.